What procedural concern arises from relying solely on this fingerprint match? Options. The print may have been planted by another suspect. Fingerprints can be transferred without direct contact. The examiner may have unconsciously favored Greeley's file. Scotland Yard rejected fingerprint evidence entirely. The correct answer is: the examiner may have unconsciously favored Greeley's file. Without corroborating evidence, an examiner's pre-existing knowledge of a suspect's record can unconsciously influence pattern matching during comparison. What factor might have strengthened witness confidence beyond actual recognition? Options. The scar was obscured in the photographs. Both witnesses knew each other beforehand. Consistent visual presentation across all 6 photos. The suspect's prior criminal record was disclosed. The correct answer is: consistent visual presentation across all 6 photos. Identical backgrounds and lighting across all photos can create false consistency, making witnesses feel more confident in an identification even without independent recognition. Why might this match be questionable? Options. 7 ridge points is below the standard threshold for certainty. The suspect refused to provide his full fingerprint. Fingerprints fade over time and become unreliable. The burglary occurred at night when identification is harder. The correct answer is: 7 ridge points is below the standard threshold for certainty. Most forensic standards require at least 12 ridge characteristics for a conclusive match. 7 ridges alone cannot reliably exclude other possible matches. What investigator behavior could have affected the witness certainty? Options. The suspect's photo was placed in the center position. The detective's confirmation statement after the selection. The witness was shown only one lineup instead of multiple. The detective did not record the witness' initial hesitation. The correct answer is: the detective's confirmation statement after the selection. Post-selection feedback from an investigator can artificially inflate a witness' confidence and certainty, even if the initial identification was uncertain. What storage condition may have compromised the print's integrity? Options. Humidity and temperature changes while the tape was exposed. The transparent tape prevented proper visual analysis. The 3-hour delay allowed the suspect to leave the scene. Warehouse lighting made the photograph too dark. The correct answer is: humidity and temperature changes while the tape was exposed. Moisture and temperature fluctuations on an unsealed, unsticked tape can distort ridge detail and introduce artifacts that might falsely appear as ridges. How might the questioning style have influenced this identification? Options. Leading questions can suggest the expected answer to the witness. The witness had already seen the suspect in person. The detective deliberately withheld the suspect's alibi. Photo arrays are inherently more suggestive than lineups. The correct answer is: leading questions can suggest the expected answer to the witness. Questions phrased as "could it be him?" plant a suggestion in the witness' mind, potentially guiding the selection rather than reflecting genuine recognition. What analytical concern does this case raise? Options. 5 ridge points cannot reliably distinguish one person from many. Doorknobs always contain multiple overlapping prints. Consistency and match are the same. Forensic conclusion: criminal history increases the accuracy of fingerprint analysis. The correct answer is: 5 ridge points cannot reliably distinguish one person from many. 5 ridge points provide too little information to statistically exclude other individuals. An examiner aware of a suspect's record may unconsciously stretch minimal evidence into a false match. What practice may have inflated the witness conviction? Options. Showing photographs sequentially instead of simultaneously, the officer's verbal confirmation after the selection, the suspect's weak alibi was disclosed before the viewing, the witness was shown all 6 photographs at once. The correct answer is the officer's verbal confirmation after the selection. An officer's immediate verbal or non-verbal acknowledgement following an identification can create false confidence in the witness, a phenomenon called feedback inflation. What examination error may have caused a false match? Options. Whorl patterns are less distinctive than loop patterns. Comparing prints without adequate magnification reduced precision. 14 ridge characteristics is too few for any match. The suspect intentionally altered his fingerprints. The correct answer is comparing prints without adequate magnification reduced precision. Fingerprint comparison requires magnification to distinguish subtle ridge differences. Naked eye matching introduces error and can produce false positives. What aspect of the investigation may have been biased? Options. The witness description could have unconsciously anchored the examiner. Red jackets do not leave fingerprints on surfaces. Fingerprint analysis is always objective and unbiased. The suspect's ownership of a red jacket proved his guilt. The correct answer is the witness description could have unconsciously anchored the examiner. Knowing the witness described a red jacket and that the suspect owned one can unconsciously influence an examiner to see a match that may not be present. What technical issue may have created a false match? Options. Digital enlargement can create artifacts resembling ridge detail. Powder always produces blurry fingerprints at crime scenes. Blurry prints cannot be lifted or photographed. Digital enlargement always improves accuracy in forensics. The correct answer is digital enlargement can create artifacts resembling ridge detail. Digital enlargement algorithms can artificially sharpen edges and create ridge-like artifacts that do not exist in the original print, leading to false matches. How did investigator expectation likely influence the outcome? Options. The detectives expressed confidence may have biased the examiner. Suspect A must have committed the crime regardless. Fingerprint examiners are trained to ignore investigator opinions. Suspect B's print was examined more carefully by design. The correct answer is the detectives expressed confidence may have biased the examiner. When an examiner knows investigator opinion before analysis, that knowledge can unconsciously bias the comparison toward the suspected individual. What statistical concern undermines this match? Options. 9 ridge points are extremely unique across any population. The examiner should have systematically checked all 30 suspects. Doorframes never retain clear fingerprints. Suspect 17 must have touched the doorframe. The correct answer is the examiner should have systematically checked all 30 suspects. Without checking all suspects for the same 9 ridge characteristics, the examiner cannot rule out that another person also shares those points, making the match inconclusive. What lineup design factor may have influenced the choice? Options. The suspects have matched the victim's description too closely. Lineups of 6 people are statistically less fair than 10. The victim was given a confidence reinforcement after selection. The other 5 people were intentionally selected poorly. The correct answer is the suspects had matched the victim's description too closely. When one person in a lineup visibly stands out distinctive clothing, the victim may select that person based on the obvious difference rather than genuine memory of the perpetrator. What procedural errors may have distorted the identification? Options: the pre-viewing instruction and post-selection feedback. 10 photographs is too many for reliable recognition. The witness should have identified the perpetrator immediately. Absolute certainty always indicates accurate identification. The correct answer is the pre-viewing instruction and post-selection feedback. Telling the witness the culprit is in these photos assumes guilt and removes neutral framing. Combined with positive feedback, it inflates false confidence. What finding suggests possible bias in the original analysis? Options: 3 independent blind reviews disagreed with the original. Fingerprints should not be reviewed by multiple examiners. Documentation of ridge counts is irrelevant to accuracy. Case file information improves fingerprint examiner accuracy. The correct answer is 3 independent blind reviews disagreed with the original. When blind examiners disagree with the original examiner, it suggests the original analysis was influenced by case knowledge rather than objective pattern comparison. Why might this match alone be insufficient for prosecution? Options: a fingerprint at a location does not establish when it was deposited. Doorknobs never retain identifiable fingerprints. The suspect's previous legitimate visit proves his guilt. Fingerprints are the only acceptable evidence in court. The correct answer is a fingerprint at a location does not establish when it was deposited. A fingerprint proves contact but not timing. The suspect's earlier legitimate visit explains how the print arrived, eliminating it as proof of involvement in the crime. What investigator behavior may have mischaracterized the identification? Options: the detective's question was phrased as a leading suggestion. 5 suspects is an appropriate lineup size. The witness hesitation indicated criminal knowledge. Documentation must always reflect witness confidence exactly. The correct answer is the detective's question was phrased as a leading suggestion. Phrasing questions as "Does this look like the person?" suggests an answer and can elicit agreement even from uncertain witnesses. Documentation then misrepresents actual confidence. What analytical gap weakens this conclusion? Options: 8 ridge points could match multiple people in the database. Paintings never retain fingerprints clearly. Examining all 50 suspects would delay investigation. 8 ridge points are statistically unique to one person. The correct answer is 8 ridge points could match multiple people in the database. Without verifying that no other suspects share the same 8 ridge characteristics, the examiner cannot statistically support the match as unique or reliable. What array design and feedback issues affected this case? Options: the suspect's enlarged photo and confirming feedback. All photographs in an array should be equally sized and positioned. The witness high certainty proves the identification is accurate. Confirming feedback is standard investigative procedure. The correct answer is the suspect's enlarged photo and confirming feedback. A visually prominent suspect photo combined with post-identification confirmation can create selection based on appearance salience rather than genuine recognition memory. What documentation and technical problem arises here? Options: enhancement algorithms can create false ridge detail not in original print. Latent fingerprints cannot be photographed or enhanced. Software enhancement always improves forensic accuracy. Documenting the original print is unnecessary in modern casework. The correct answer is enhancement algorithms can create false ridge detail not in original print. When only enhanced images are documented and analyzed, the examiner loses the ability to verify that the matched characteristics exist in the original evidence.